Greetings, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Topic UFO. Tonight, we're going to be speaking to Mr. Phil Kava. Now, Phil is an independent researcher, an author, and someone who's had a lifetime of paranormal experiences, as well as UFO and ET experiences. He's recently written a book entitled On the Shoulder of Giants, Contemplating the Super Scientific on My Journey Towards Enlightenment. And he is here to speak to us about this new book, as well as some other things. Ought to be a very interesting conversation. So, we'll be right back. Don't go away. 1 minute, we'll be talking to Mr. Phil Kava.
In the afternoon, when things slow down, when you're wondering what to do, let's go! Go bowling! Nothing brings people together or makes friends so fast as bowling. So call a friend. Bowl Brunswick tomorrow.
Welcome back, everyone. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and bring on tonight's guest, Mr. Phil Kava. Phil, are you out there, sir?
I'm right here, Rick. How you doing?
Great. Phil, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to come speak with us tonight. Phil, I'd just like to start off with a couple of basic questions.
Sure.
And, reading your website, looking at your website, knowing just a little bit about you, I understand that you've basically had a lifetime of paranormal experiences, ET experiences. Can you tell us, in a short kind of overview, what has your life entailed over the years?
I can give it a try. I want to say thanks, Rick, first for having me on tonight, and hello to all your guests. I got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. We'll try to keep on track and get as much covered as we can.
Okay.
To sum up me in a nutshell, a lifetime of strange experiences since I was a little kid. Elementary school, dreams that come true, out-of-body experiences. It goes on and on. Seeing, ghosts. Eventually, the ET contact. Multiple UFO sightings over the last 15 years in the daytime with multiple witnesses.
Now, these ET experiences? Were these the typical generic grays, or were they something else? Or
well, the only actual conscious memory that I have of actual physical contact with an ET happened just recently, actually, right at the beginning of 2013, which started a spiral of events to come for me. But what I have had is, multiple dreams and memories. I don't want to say they were contact because I'm kind of funny about that. But I have seen in the daytime, without hypnotherapy, regression, or anything, multiple sightings of multiple different types of craft over the last 15 years. And I mean dozens, if not hundreds of sightings with dozen people or more on multiple occasions.
Multiple witnesses. Now, for the viewers, can you tell us in general where you are, where you reside?
Yeah, right now I'm living in the middle of Michigan, basically out in the middle of farm country.
Okay.
Grew up around Detroit, lived all over the country when I was younger. The sightings started happening for me back when I was living in Nashville, just not too far from Nashville Airport. But
Ah, well,
that was
that's
back in
that's
the.
where I live, kind of.
Oh, cool, cool.
I'm
Um,
north of Nashville, but
all
okay,
right,
go ahead.
good deal. A beautiful place. But yeah, I just finished writing my book, and that came about because of the show. So there's just, like I said, there's a ton to talk about. So I'll let you go, wherever you want to start. Go ahead, ask away, and answer any questions I have for you. But it's been a really incredible year. The last couple, I mean, it's been an incredible life, but things have really accelerated with the ET contact. I think not only for myself, but for a lot of other people around the planet, people I know personally and people I've contacted through social media, Facebook, and so forth. And things are accelerating. I think what the basic messages that we're getting from the ETs is that we are running out of time, and we all need to wake up soon and take our rightful place in the universe. And that's kind of what I'd like to talk about tonight, and also quantum entanglement and how that fits in, and how science is catching up with reality, basically, and how that I kind of discuss all these things in my book on my journey towards enlightenment.
Well, then let's just go there. So you have a book that was recently published
Right.
entitled "On the Shoulder of Giants: Contemplating the Super Scientific on My Journey Towards Enlightenment."
Yeah, that's an easy one, right?
That's a good title, big title.
Well,
So
it
what
is
is it about?
exactly what it is.
What tell us what is this book about? Why did you write it? The whole bit.
All right. Basically, the book starts out, on the shoulders of giants, because everything I've only learned because of the people that have come before me. All the greats in science and ufology. Yeah, there's just so many that I couldn't possibly get to all of them. But and contemplating the super scientific on my journey towards enlightenment is basically thinking about all the strange things that have happened to me on a lifetime, trying to figure out why I'm here, what I'm doing here, and what my purpose is. And that's basically the story tells itself. In the book, I start out from a young child, youngest of 11, how my thoughts were always a little beyond my age, I do believe, and my experiences of paranormal from a young age opened me up to things that I think most people never really had the opportunity to experience. And throughout my life, things have just accelerated. UFO experiences started, to my recollection, in the 90s, about 96, 97. But throughout my life, the strange things that happened to me, I can now look at physics, and through quantum physics, understand these things and how they related to my journey towards enlightenment, and how basically what my journey has led me to understand is that we are all at a time of a great conscious awakening. And that, I guess, is the message that I get from the ETs, and I think the ETs are giving to us. And I think the message, I don't want to say I've ever gotten a message from the ETs, because they never came and talked to me. Like I said, I have lots of dreams, lots of memories. I've had implants, so I know I've been picked up. More than likely, they had picked me up and talked to me, but I've done a little bit of hypnotherapy, but never really got past the brick wall that they put up. But
Now, Phil, let me ask
yeah.
you say you've had implants.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, how do you know you had implants?
Old bruises, I asked for them, and the next day they were there. My daughter's had them as well on her wrist. They show up on x-rays. But that, like I said, my book explains all these. There's so much to talk about, over the last 15 years. But to sum it up, what I've come to understand about the implant, I asked for mine in a time of need a couple of different occasions for specific reasons, and they did something to help me. And my belief is that the implants are there to help us to evolve, to actually manipulate our DNA, to help us to get ready for what is coming as far as this conscious awakening and this dimensional shift that I do believe the planet is going to go through very soon, or could potentially go through. And I also discuss these things in my book to some degree. But the implants, yeah, I think they're there to help us. I don't think they're tracking devices. There could be multiple reasons. They could be there for testing this and that. But as far as I'm concerned, my personal belief is they're there because I asked for them. So
I've never heard that explanation before. That's unique. So you feel that somewhere along the line, or maybe you asked for them.
Oh, I know.
Oh.
And like I said in the email I sent you earlier, I don't want to call myself a contactee because I don't have conscious recollection of sitting and talking with an extraterrestrial or interdimensional being. But I do know that if I need to see a ship to know that they're still hanging around, or somebody I know needs to see one and they're with me and I ask, they show themselves a ship to me, in the middle of the day, sometimes instantaneously or within a couple hours or a couple days.
Well, now I have talked to several people that have said they have that ability.
Yep.
So is this something that I take it you do telepathically of some type?
Well, this is where we get into the quantum entanglement.
Okay.
And this is something that really has all come. This is the last 30 years, I guess you could say, I've been researching subtle energy and energy medicine. Since 2001, I assisted to some extent the late Dr. Biophysicist W.C. Levingood, who passed away just in 2013, with his work on subtle energy and energy medicine. So when you talk about telepathic communication, and that I covered all this in my book, I hopefully tie it all together in my little short 200-page book, in terms that people can understand it. But when you talk about telepathic communication, we're all quantumly entangled because we're all living in this matrix. Call it, and I'm just talking not only in this dimension, but multidimensionally. My belief is that there's multiple dimensions, and they're not just string theory, but more string theories that are tied together and twisted together. Our strings aren't nice and neatly apart. We don't occasionally blend together. But what happens is we're actually living in this multiple, twisted, interdimensional universe where things occasionally blend in and out unintentionally, but can be transposed or transversed intentionally with the right abilities through consciousness. So when you talk about telepathy, it's not a big deal. We're all telepathic. We can all telecommunicate. We can all send thoughts out to other people. And I actually put a YouTube video which basically shows that we can do some really cool things when we open up our minds and use our brains, the rest of our brains, in the right way.
Now, did you say, or did you tell me that there was some type of experiment you wanted to try or something like that?
Well, yeah. After working, well, let me start with my work on Dr. Levingood, if I could.
Okay, sure.
To get to real kind of sum up things here. Like I said, my book explains it all in a more, chronological order to some extent. But back in 2001, I was introduced to biophysicist W.C. Levingood. For those who aren't familiar with him, he's done a lot of work with Linda Moulton Howe on cattle mutilations. He's done a lot of stuff on crop circles. He's patented several things, but like I said, he passed away just last year, and he did work on subtle energy and energy medicine. He and a gentleman named Dr. Geddes, who also passed away several years ago, Dr. Geddes and Dr. Levingood patented a device which can measure chi, which measures, basically there's no other way to put it, it measures chi. I'll just put it simply. The device has been patented, and I worked with him on doing research on this, taking energy readings on people, energy workers, normal people. And through the research, it's been discovered that people can, we have a device that you can hold in your hands, and you can think more energy to the device, and it will increase the energy. Okay. Now, we can also have energy workers who send the energy over distance, send the energy from 1,000 miles away or 200 miles away to someone on the device, and it'll pick up that energy increase being sent from the energy worker. Now, I've known about this device, and it's been patented for almost 20 years, and I've known about it since 2001. And due to, hassles, money, legal issues, patenting and all that, the CDP device has never gotten the recognition that it should have. Because this is a machine that basically can scientifically prove that we can send energy to one another using the power of our mind and our conscious intent from not only across the room, from across the world, and from across the universe, because we are all quantumly entangled. Now, like I said earlier, I don't know if we did mention that, but I was recently on the television show, did a small part of my interview on Uncovering Aliens, which was aired on the Discovery Science Channel, just last night. But they took a really short portion of what I did for that whole tape. They put about probably 5% of what they taped to my story, which is almost nothing.
Yes.
That they showed on there. But I don't want to lose track, but one of the reasons I did the TV show was in hopes that one of the reasons I agreed to do the show and tell my story on the show, potentially tell my story on the show, was to tell the producers and hopefully tell people about the CDP device and what we could do with it. Because I knew Dr. Levigan was getting old, Dr. Geddes had already passed away, and I was hoping something would become of it before he passed. And unfortunately, he passed away before the show ever aired. But they didn't really cover it on the show anyway. So,
so Phil, do a lot of people know about this device? I mean, people in these circles of interest, is this CDP device a known thing?
Not well enough. A handful of people. Now, Dr. Geddes' wife is still working on the patent, still working on getting it out there, and I keep in touch with her periodically. I haven't spoken to her in a while. But, not enough has gotten to. When you get into dealing with patents and attorneys and money, it's so hard to accomplish things. But, no, it hasn't gotten out there. And, my hope is that, I will, to some extent, I talk about it in my book, show a little bit of the data. But there is, I have 10 years worth of data I collected on multiple energy workers I've had people send energy from New Mexico to Michigan and have it register on this machine. And I've had people send some energy from Wisconsin to Michigan, and it works all the time. But it's not gotten the attention that it needs to get. And that is one of the main reasons I agreed to put everything out there and do this television show after a lifetime of weird experiences.
Well, let me ask you something, Phil. Right. So let's say it's a given that this CDP device proves that energy, or at least energy signals, could be transferred telepathically from person to person.
Right.
What does that have to do with ETs? Do you work on some type of link between that scientific proof and other things ET related, or what?
Oh, yeah. Well, the message from all the people I know personally who are experiencers and myself, the message we're all getting, my research I've done on the topic, is that, something's coming, a big change is coming to the planet.
Okay.
And, I don't want to get into the good or bad ETs or, history, Anunnaki and all that, because it's just way too much to get into right now. But, there's some good and bad forces, in my opinion.
Right.
But, the message that I think the ETs have been giving all of us, experiencers, contactees, whatever you want to call us, is that there's something big going to happen. And I think that something big is going to be a dimensional shift, where we're actually going to shift into a higher dimension. And to say that, at first people will say that sounds totally insane, not possible. But if you understand quantum physics, and I think I did a good job putting this in my book, it explains how simple it is and how, in actuality, everything that we consider real and physical matter is 99.9999% empty space. So physical reality is really not much there.
Well,
And
I got to ask you. I'm sorry to break in here, but
no,
I
please.
have to ask you. So, if we experienced a dimensional shift,
Right.
now would that just be our consciousness? I mean, would we still see the world as we see it now, but we
Yeah.
would just relate to it differently, or
Here's the one thing that's not clear. My there's a couple different theories, dozens, but basically one is that, a lot of people think everyone's going to shift, everything's going to change. So I have a tendency to believe that there's a possibility that we may split, and what is here will remain here on this lower dimensional level. And then those of us who are ready and the planet itself will accelerate at a higher dimensional level. And we'll actually have this dual split Earth. But I don't know, this is all just my thoughts, but the potentiality is, or this dimension that's here could just totally disappear and be destroyed while this other dimension is created and exists. And as far as physicality, what we perceive, I think it would be similar but not the same, because everything would be vibrating at a higher frequency. Therefore, everything would be different. I can't even really begin to imagine what lies ahead in this so-called golden age. But I do know that collectively, our collective consciousness, yours, mine, and everyone listening and everyone else, will determine what that new reality is. We already have, but we're not yet aware of that.
do you think this will be the first time humans have experienced a shift, or do you think this has occurred before?
No, I think this is actually a first time ever anywhere experience. We are basically, as a being, going to metamorphosize from one dimension into another. I think that's what the messages I'm getting from all the ETs and interdimensionals and everyone else is getting, that what's going on here is big, not only in our universe, but in multiple universes and multiple dimensions. Because what happens here matters. And that's the thing I want to get across to people too, is the message from the ETs of this conscious awakening. Not only that we are all quantumly entangled on multiple dimensions, but also that as human beings, we are so much more than we have ever been told, because we have been lied to, you and I and everybody who's listening, as far as reality and what we are, who we are, and why we're here, and what we're capable of. We've been lied to about that since the day we were born, in order to be controlled and kept enslaved on this planet. Like I said, I stand on the shoulders of giants. The work's been done by Michael Tellinger, and all those who came before him, Zechariah Sitchin, Eric Van Doniken, all these people, they've done incredible work. There's so many things out there, the proof is out there, that we've not been told the truth. I don't know what the truth is, but I know it's not what we've been told. And what's happening here, I think, is going to change and has never happened before. And what we're about to experience, I don't think any of us can really fully even understand in this dimension. Speaking on that term, it reminds me of the book Flatlanders, where everything was a two-dimensional existence, and nothing could understand a three-dimensional existence because they had nothing to compare it to. So
well, now, do you feel that the ETs are in control of this shift, or are they just here to enlighten us about the shift? Are they here to pick who's going to shift and who is not?
No, well, see, when you get the ETs, we're talking, everything is energy.
Right.
All spirit is energy, but not all energy is spirit, right? So every living conscious being is spirit energy. And there's ETs like us, have physical bodies in a third dimensional kind of existence. And then there's other ETs that can go into multiple dimensions. And I think that, if we knew how, even in this current state, we could actually, if we had the understanding that we were not giving, the knowledge that we weren't giving, we could actually vibrate our energy bodies and get our physical bodies in this dimension to walk through walls, to levitate things, to levitate ourselves. But we have not accomplished that because we've been cut off from reality because we've been, imprisoned on this planet. But I'm getting lost off track there. Get me back on track. Getting on one of my little tangents.
Well, I've got a question for you.
Right.
We've often heard about what scientists refer to as junk DNA. We have all this DNA that provides them all this information, but then there's this bunch of junk DNA as well.
Right.
Do you personally? Do you believe that? Do you believe there's such thing as junk DNA?
No, and that's the thing.
I don't either.
No. There's no. Nature doesn't create junk. There's nothing happens on accident. That's what I think is happening with the implants. I think the implants are something that for multiple reasons, but they could be helping some of us to adjust our energy bodies, to help adjust our DNA. And I think that's important that we understand the energy body, because in our reality, we are nothing but our energy bodies. The physical reality that we are is only because of the energy body that we truly are, which is, call it our soul or, whatever
right.
you want to call it. But our true being, our true consciousness, our true mind, self. But, it's, there's so much to talk about.
Well, listen, back to these implants.
Right.
My question about the implants is why ETs that are obviously much more intelligent than we are, just from the craft they use and all that type of stuff.
Right.
Why would they choose? Because most of the implants that I've seen that have been
right.
removed, etc., were easily picked up on a basic X-ray.
Right.
Why would the ETs opt for that type of implant? I'm sure they could have come up with something that would have been undetectable,
right.
At least by common X-ray.
Right. Oh, and they do, and there are. So the one in my arm you can't detect on X-ray.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So there are different types of implants.
Yeah, and those are mostly silica-based that you're not going to pick up on X-ray.
I see.
But as far as the ET, get back to the whole thing. Some of them, I think Jim Sparks had a good observation on that. That they're actually made from all the minerals and metal compounds in our bodies already.
Mm-hmm.
So that would explain a lot of why they're there and why they're detectable, because they're made of the carbon components of the iron from our blood and so forth. So that would kind of explain that. And getting back to what you're talking about, the evolution of DNA, the junk DNA, and so forth. No, there's no junk DNA. I think what's coming is the shift that's coming is going to ignite this DNA and make us the beings that we are supposed to be. And it's going to happen through a change in our energy bodies, which is going to change the physical body. Talking about this dimensional shift, it's all going to fit together. I don't fully understand it, but somehow it's going to fit together to lead us to another dimension. Try to cover it in my book the best I can, but I can only suppose. But a lot of what I talk about is backed up by physics. As far as the ETs and ET interdimensional, like I was mentioning earlier, the spirit, who's in control of this change? I think there are, you want to call it God or higher orders of beings that are in control to some extent. But I think the greater extent, what happens in our current existence, it is up to us in our mass consciousness and all of us to come together and change our reality. Now, I truly believe that if enough of us could wake up and come together and realize who we are and our full potential and realize what we can do with our energy bodies and our physical bodies, just as we are today, to know what we could do, to know what I know we can do, which I try to explain to people in my book and on my YouTube videos and stuff, together we could literally change this world. we could deflect comets. 100,000 of us, a million of us together, using our energy, using our brains, and using our energy bodies, we could probably calm the sun. Matter of fact, I know we could calm the sun, because if we would live in peace and harmony with the planet, with the earth, with the sun, in all existence, everything would be as it should, and not all messed up like it is.
Well, I think each and every person has or is capable of great things. It's
Right.
the world around us, the society around us, that removes us from focusing on that. We're more focused on working 8 hours a day, a
Yep.
mortgage, kids,
Yeah.
having the fancy car better than your next door neighbor. All that
Yep.
type of stuff
Right.
takes us away from what really could be, right?
Exactly. And there's so many people talking about that out there, and the proof is out there. Like I said, I stand on the shoulders of giants. These guys have done the work. We've been enslaved, we've been in prison, we've been lied to since the beginning of time, so that certain groups of entities could keep us in control, the masses in control. But I don't want to get off on that tangent, because that's not, my thing. My thing is conscious awakening, the enlightenment of humanity. Get people to understand. I think it's the message of the ETs. It's my message that we're all, and this is something, I really hope that I prove through my book and my YouTube videos and through the work of others, is that we are all energetically connected. Matter of fact, I pretty much guarantee you that I can teach you, if you are open to it, I can teach you and anyone that's listening now how to use your brain and do an energy sending technique that right now, if you were to stand up, I think doesn't really matter how much in the mood I'm in, I could physically move you back and forth from right where, you're somewhere around Nashville, doesn't matter if you're here or anywhere else. I could move you back and forth with the power of my mind, the power of my brain, the power of my mind, real time right now between, we're recording this right now. Right now, I could move you back and forth. But when anyone else listened to this show, they would also be moved back and forth by my using an energy technique that I learned from watching a guy named Ed Edwards, who came to my house for the filming of the television show. And I already taught at least 6 other people how to do that. And can I get into I'd like to get into that somewhat, because that is, very important for all of us to understand how connected we are.
Please.
Not only can we send energy, healing energy, that can, move people back and forth physically, but also heal the energy body and the physical body. But if we were to impose intent with that energy, we can do good things or we can do bad things, because the power of our mind is an extremely powerful thing, and that's what humans are not aware of. Our consciousness, not only our singular consciousness, but our collective consciousness, is one of the most powerful things that this universe has ever seen. And I think that's what the so-called bad ETs know, and they don't want us to see. And that's who's been controlling us to keep us in the dark, because they don't want us to know our full potential. Yeah, and it's my personal belief that, I'm a big believer in a lot of stuff, the potential reality of what's in a book called the Urantia book. And it talks about universal law and order, but it basically states that, we're all potential, all human beings are potential overseers of universes. They're called finalators or finaliters, something like that. But I believe that to some extent, all of us have the potential to create physical reality and to oversee universes. Not that we are gods, creator gods, or God the source God, but we are all part of God. And, collectively, we can do fantastic things. And when we evolve to our next state of existence as beings, we will reach a stage of finality where we will be similar to what, supposedly Christ was when he was here.
Wow.
Similar, but not the same.
Well, I tell you, Phil, it is definitely a deep subject, and we could probably talk for hours and hours.
It's
Unfortunately, we've kind of reached the end of the time for today. But
Right.
I wanted to, again, mention the name of the book. It is On the Shoulders of Giants,
Right.
Contemplating the Super Scientific on My Journey Towards Enlightenment by
Yeah.
Mr.
Right.
Phil
Yeah.
Kava. Now, Phil, I saw on your website,
Right.
which by the way is philkava.com, right?
Yep. Yep. Just got
You
that up.
you have an event coming up, I think, in
Yeah,
March.
March 16th, Michigan MUFON. It's over by Flint, Michigan. I can't remember the name of the small town. But it's all on my website and the Michigan MUFON website.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And where else can people contact you if they wanted to do
Um,
so?
on Facebook, uh,
Facebook?
just Phil Kava, I think. You'll find me on Facebook. I was going to say, too, I got some YouTube videos up. And if people would like to go and check them out, they need to read the descriptions and follow the directions. They don't work on everyone, but they work on most anyone who's open to them.
Okay.
And these videos, people will find very moving. And you just go to YouTube and type in my name, Phil Kava, Kava, and check out my videos. I got some cool things in there. I've done some cool experiments at the local college, and plan on doing some really cool experiments at this upcoming MUFON meeting, and taping that and getting that up to YouTube. No, I'll get in touch with you, Rick, and let you know how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know when you get the tape up there, because I would definitely like to view that. Well, Phil, thanks again. As I said, that the show goes by so quickly, and when you're talking about a subject such as what we talked about, it's hard to squeeze it all in on one episode. So,
Yeah.
please feel free or open to come back anytime.
Okay, great.
Love
Yeah,
to talk
get in
to you
touch
some
with me.
more.
Like I said, I'm open. I got a lot of things to do this year. I got a lot of plans as far as getting the book out there and doing some MUFON meetings and really sharing the message. It's not about me. It's about the message. It's about conscious awakening, and that we're all in this together.
I hear you. I hear you, and I agree. All right, Phil. Well, thank you very much, and you
All
have
right, Rick.
a great rest of the evening.
Okay, you too. Thanks a lot, Rick. Appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Open the door, you'll find the secret. To find the answer is to keep it. You'll believe it when you find something screaming across your mind. Green slime.
Ought to be a very interesting conversation. So, we'll be right back. Don't go away. 1 minute, we'll be talking to Mr. Phil Kava.
In the afternoon, when things slow down, when you're wondering what to do, let's go! Go bowling! Nothing brings people together or makes friends so fast as bowling. So call a friend. Bowl Brunswick tomorrow.
Welcome back, everyone. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and bring on tonight's guest, Mr. Phil Kava. Phil, are you out there, sir?
I'm right here, Rick. How you doing?
Great, great. Phil, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to come speak with us tonight. Phil, I'd just like to start off with a couple of basic questions.
Sure.
And, reading your website, looking at your website, knowing just a little bit about you, I understand that you've basically had a lifetime of paranormal experiences, ET experiences. Can you tell us, in a short kind of overview, what has your life entailed over the years?
I can give it a try. I want to say thanks, Rick, first for having me on tonight, and hello to all your guests. Yeah, I got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. We'll try to keep on track and get as much covered as we can.
Okay.
To sum up me in a nutshell, a lifetime of strange experiences since I was a little kid. Elementary school, dreams that come true, out of body experiences. It goes on and on. Seeing, ghosts. Eventually, the ET contact. Multiple UFO sightings over the last 15 years in the daytime with multiple witnesses.
Now, these ET experiences? Were these the typical generic grays, or were they something else? Or
Well, the only actual conscious memory that I have of actual physical contact with an ET happened just recently, actually, right at the beginning of 2013, which started a spiral of events to come for me. But what I have had is, I don't multiple dreams and memories. I don't want to say they were contact because I'm kind of funny about that. But I have seen in the daytime, without hypnotherapy, regression, or anything, multiple sightings of multiple different types of craft over the last 15 years. And I mean dozens, if not hundreds of sightings with dozen people or more on multiple occasions.
multiple witnesses. Now, for the viewers, can you tell us in general where you are, where you reside?
Yeah, right now I'm living in the middle of Michigan, basically out in the middle of farm country.
Okay.
Grew up around Detroit, lived all over the country when I was younger. The sightings started happening for me back when I was living in Nashville, just not too far from Nashville Airport.
Ah,
But,
well, that's where I live, kind of.
Oh, cool.
I'm north of Nashville, but okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
Good deal. What a beautiful place. But yeah, I just finished writing my book, and that came about because of the show. So there's just, like I said, there's a ton to talk about. So I'll let you go, wherever you want to start. Go ahead, ask away, and answer any questions I have for you. But it's been a really incredible year. It's been an incredible life, but things have really accelerated with the ET contact. I think not only for myself, but for a lot of other people around the planet, people I know personally and people I've contacted through social media, Facebook, and so forth. And things are accelerating. I think what the basic messages that we're getting from the ETs is that we are running out of time. And we all need to wake up soon and take our rightful place in the universe. And that's kind of what I'd like to talk about tonight. And also quantum entanglement and how that fits.
Greetings, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Topic UFO. Tonight, we're going to be speaking to Mr. Phil Kava. Now, Phil is an independent researcher, an author, and someone who's had a lifetime of paranormal experiences as well as UFO and ET experiences. He's recently written a book entitled On the Shoulder of Giants, Contemplating the Super Scientific on My Journey Towards Enlightenment. And he is here to speak to us about this new book, as well as some other things.